Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. We are bundled up today because it is so cold outside. I was struggling today, but I used to do something on my channel that I called an evening chat, and it was kind of just a nice way to get things off my chest and to just talk, to think out loud. I think I would like to make a space for myself where I can share this stuff and kind of paint a self-portrait, if that makes sense, with the aim of truth holding the paintbrush, if that makes sense. This is going to be a series, I guess, on my channel of candid conversations, whether that's like an introspection on my part, a story I get to tell, or a conversation with me and someone else. And why am I doing this? I think I already said that, but I think it's because I'm craving it. I'm craving to see it, so I might as well be it. Ultimately, I want it to be a place where people are actually allowed to talk about things. They're allowed to have a voice here. Everyone is allowed to have a voice. Because I think oftentimes we don't. I think we crave such depth. We crave depth. And then there's that odd no man's land of not knowing how to get there. So I'd like to kind of put myself out there in the hopes that it'll stir that up. And I kind of just want to kick off this first episode of 2025 by telling y'all what's been on my mind lately, what this year has been like, what the last few years have been like. Oh my gosh, you guys. So I spent a few years after I moved to Australia being painfully silent in a very imperceptible way. And that's not to say, oh my gosh, I was crying out for help and nobody understood, nobody saw me. It is just to be self-aware and say, there was a point in my life as a teenager where something happened to me and I did actually go quite silent for 6 months, to the best of my ability. I had to maintain my job and I had to answer yes or no questions and I had to, exist in the world. But as much as I could manage it, I was silent. And I noticed when I moved to Australia that within the first week of being here, something so disorienting happened that I think I found myself in that silence again. But it was a different kind of silence this time, because this time I felt like my survival depended on me masking that silence, if that makes sense. So the silence I mean is refusal to process, straight up just the candid necessity to put off the processing of an event, and then the desperate drowning feeling of not knowing how to even begin to introduce that trauma to people if it ever did have the opportunity to come up. I hope that makes sense. The only reason I'll be vague for any reason in regards to these talks that I'd like to have is for the respect and privacy of other people. Forgive me if this is all jumbled up. It's still, I'm really bad at distilling information. I think especially when it's something I have to do by myself. I'm so much better with a counterpart to talk to. I thought I'd ask myself some questions that maybe will get the ball rolling on what future topics are going to be and kind of who Hope is. For anyone who doesn't know me yet, how would I introduce myself to you in my own words? I would say I am whole now. Not done, but there's a whole person working towards things, if that makes sense. I don't think we're ever done with growing. I'm a whole person with a lot of flaws, you guys. Oh my gosh, I am messy. I followed Jesus. I love Jesus. Gosh, he saved me. The love of my life. I came to this, like, the testimony of what the Lord has done. Truly, he gives beauty for ashes. He turns mourning to dancing. He turns shame into glory. He turns mess into message. He gives wisdom freely. He, oh my gosh, sets a table in the presence of enemies. He covers us with the hem of his garment. Like, I can go on and on and on. I love the Lord. God is so good. And I think that's what I mean when I say, like, I'm whole. I'm not whole because I have grown past something. I'm whole because I've been saved. I've been pulled up out of the mire and the muck. Gosh, like, that's what makes me whole. Oblivious? I think I can be pretty oblivious. If we're being real, that's everyone. Everyone can be oblivious. But I think it might be something I'm kind of known for. Still waters run deep, right? So I'm just always like, yeah, what is that depth in you? Because in my mind, if you're a human being, you're deep. I don't believe anybody isn't deep. And I don't think anybody should kid themselves into judging someone else and thinking, oh, they're so shallow, like they're not deep at all. They're deep, okay? They're probably just masking or like putting up a front, or they're terrified of how to even get to that depth. So my thing is, like, I've always found it extremely easy to love difficult people. I love difficult people, and I love not difficult people because, difficult would be just my definition of difficult. But I can say I do have a particular affinity for difficult people. I don't know what that is in me. I'm a twin. I am technically the youngest of 3 girls in a family. I am American. I grew up in Texas. I'm Hispanic. I have a big extended family that I grew up seeing. Oh my gosh, this is like the longest answer to one question. I'm so sorry. I don't really know how to stop with this stuff. That's another thing about me. I give way too much answer to any given question. I give way too much answer to any given question. So I'm just going to stop there. What is something that you've learned about yourself recently that surprised you? Actually, how rebellious I am, maybe. I've always acted that way, and not necessarily in a bad way. But I didn't realize I came across that way until my older sister told me. And she didn't call me rebellious outright. She just said, whatever you wanted to do, you were going to do. Like, we were discussing our childhoods and stuff. And she said that she had noticed that about me or something. I was surprised by that. Because I was like, I didn't know I just never thought about it. But I agree with her. Yeah, if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. I will wrestle with it, and I absolutely will admit when I'm wrong, but that doesn't mean I won't do what I want to do. What do you look for in the people that you keep close? I'd say, like, the hunger to be honest. I think that's the only thing I really take note of in a person, is the hunger to be honest, which means I'm constantly having to kind of like submit to honesty myself in a good way. Because I think the honest thing would be to say that absolutely I'm tempted to like glaze over things at times and like, I don't know, always self-justify. It's like, no, I think I need to like humble myself. Where do I hope to be emotionally, mentally, or spiritually 5 years from now? Bolder. I think I'm already bold, but I'd like that to continue. I think the bystander effect is quite a dangerous thing. Both, in circumstance and like spiritually. So yeah, I just want to continue to grow bolder, but in gentleness, of course, in love. And where do I hope to be 5 years from now? I'm like that silver that gets refined until you can see the silversmith's reflection in it, right? I know that's a proverb. I think in the past season of my life in Australia, the last few years, gosh, it's so much. I just don't even know how to like dip into one story without taking 30 minutes on it. But in one season of my life here, one little chapter, I just remember being so humbled by how difficult things were relationally with some people. And I was like, man, Lord, like, I'm so sorry, but I'm so freaking stubborn. I did not realize how stubborn I was. And it's not like, oh, you had to give me this lesson in order for me to learn that. But I'm like, boy, did you use it. Oh my gosh, you're using it to teach me. And I don't ever want to have to repeat this lesson again. I do not ever want this curriculum on my schedule ever again. Was there ever a turning point or wake-up call in your life? Probably the first death in the family that we experienced. And it was nice to have so much family around. It was not in my immediate family, but it was in the family that was so close with ours. Oh my gosh. Who still are. I watched my uncle walk through a diagnosis and a illness that he passed from 2 years after the diagnosis. And I will never be able to imagine what his daughter and his son and his wife went through. Mariah, I love you. Watching that changed my perspective on things. I think from age 12, we were all 12, us three girls, me, Heather, and Mariah, were 12 when he passed. And it just does change you. It does. I couldn't ever kid myself from that point on. I think I've said that before in a video. I don't even know specifically what about. It was like with all of it. With all of life, I could not kid myself after that point. So I think that's actually made a huge impact on me as a person. Oh, maybe we'll end on like a lighter one. If your life right now had a title or theme, what would it be? I don't know. Title like in a book way? Whatever. The thing that just popped in my head was like, she stepped out. Like, I kind of feel like for the first time in my life, and I've always been this way. I've always done what I wanted to do, but in a new way, in a more whole way. It's going to sound so odd, just because I don't know how else to say it. I feel like I'm just trying to exist as hope for the first time in my life, instead of basing my life around everyone else, if that makes sense. That's not to say like, oh, it's about me this year. Like, no, I just think like I'm stepping out. So cheesy. The theme would be self-introduction. Like I'm introducing myself to myself, I think. I think I have been in keep it together mode for so long that I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, like, hey you, we forgot about you. Like, how are you doing? Are you okay? Like talking to myself. But that's where I'm at. Okay, so I think maybe that's a good or a bad jumping off point for what the new series on the channel is going to be. I want to sit down with you. You are welcome here. Like, gosh, that sounded like a threat. I mean it though. You're welcome here. Like, let's sit down. Let's be a bit messy. We're okay to be honest. I hate that honesty it makes sense that it's such a difficult thing for the human heart to want to be submitted to and to not judge it in other people. But you're welcome here. If you want to come back on a weekly basis and maybe feel listened to by listening to someone else share about things, come back and share your thoughts and your questions below. Maybe next time we'll actually really, really, really get into it.